Today we are going to be drawing some bird characters that I was inspired by as I was outdoor gardening in my yard. I have several big trees and I have tons of birds, all different kinds and colors, and some of them are very whimsical and they're fun to watch. So I thought we would do some bird characters today, and we will learn about some different drawing techniques as well. What you would need is a pencil and some crayons and perhaps an eraser. So that would be our source of inspiration. So here we go. Let's place the 5 bird characters that we're going to draw on a branch. Branches are not real straight across. You can go up with them, you can go down. Let's make part of a twig on this branch sticking out. And we will probably use brown to color this branch in with later. Let us develop some bird characters. Their bodies are kind of ovalish. So here's one. And let's sweep the tail feathers down a bit. Let's make some fun crowns on them. That's a simple triangle shape, 2 little nose holes. These, of course, are circles, and you can see how this is kind of an ovalish shape. Perhaps some rounded triangle shapes for the toes, a couple half ovals for the wings. This would be one of the bird characters. Let's develop this one sideways. Let's make some fun feathers sticking out of his head. This one is facing that way. We'll put one eye and perhaps the beak. I'll erase this line a little bit. And here's the wing added on. And let's swoop the tail feathers kind of sideways a little bit. We can add all different textures and so on with our crayons later as we color them. Let's put another one right in the center here. Follow your ovalish shape. Add a little bit of a fancier feather perhaps. Round shapes for the eyes. The triangle shape for the nose. And his tail feathers coming down straight. We'll add another oval shape here. Perhaps this one will be looking a little bit more sideways, so we'll only see the one wing on that side. Let's do some fun, funky feathers on his head. The birds in my yard, I don't think, have quite so outrageous feathers on their heads as what we're doing here today. These are more bird characters. This one, let's swoop the tail feathers out a little bit on this one. And then we'll do one more. We've got another nice space left. Make this feathered tail wing just a little bit bigger. And then let's add one more bird character kind of an oval shape, you can see. This one will have him just facing forward. Triangle beak, rounded eye, and maybe some funky head feathers. And then this tail, let's just swoop it down, kind of like this. So here is our bird characters, and I will show you the techniques of drawing. I guess we'll do it with pencil first, and then as we color these with crayon, you might be able to see them up a little bit closer. So on this one, we're going to do a couple patterns, like zigzag patterns. And again, this is just still pencil. This first bird we'll do in a hatching technique, and with crayon we'll add, you know, the different colors of lines. But basically, we will color this in just with lines. And that will be called hatching. This next one, let's do this fun bird facing sideways. Let's do cross hatching on this one, and that would be where your lines come down and then they go across. And as you can see, it's almost like squares. So this is your cross hatching, this bird right here, and then this is your hatched lines. This next one's going to be fun. It might get a little noisy. You might want to put a magazine or newspaper underneath, because this is called stippling. The painters also call it pointillism. And basically, my friends, it's just dots. You fill in all the spaces with different colors of dots if you want. Right now, we're just showing you the example with pencil. So far we have hatching, cross hatching, this is stippling, and on this one, let's just do continuous tone. That's pretty much what you've been coloring with most of the time. You didn't maybe know it, or perhaps your art teacher or regular classroom teacher didn't tell you, but it's just continuous tone. It's just coloring in like you would normally with the crayon. And then this last one, maybe we can do a mix of all 4 different techniques of hatching, cross hatching, stippling, and then continuous tone. We will now add the bird feet. We've got this one so far. Now we'll add the other 4, and they're kind of modified ovalish triangles. Those bird toes really do grip the wood, the branch, whatever it is that they're sitting on. Their feet and toes are really, really strong. So here we have the 5 bird characters with 4 different drawing techniques. And now we're ready to color. So I'll start with the coloring. Perhaps this whimsical bird. Now this is hatched, remember, that's the coloring technique, and it's just basically lines. So guess what? With all the different wings and feathers and textures, it's real easy to just color these in with just lines. You can have a pattern with this one. Perhaps this first row of zigzags will be red, perhaps green, repeated patterns, repeated shapes, repeated lines, and you can carry that into the tail feather as well, just lines. Remember, these are whimsical birds, although canaries are green and yellow, I think. If you've had a chance to go to the wonderful zoo here in Michigan City, Canaries do have these brilliant colors. Perhaps this one that is now cross-hatched, we can do in greens and blues. So the lines go down, and then the lines can go crossways. And since it's feathers and rounded shapes, rather than straight on a nice bird shape that's got a lot of ovals, we can round those lines. So on and so forth. This perhaps, let's maybe use a violet color or a purple. Eventually all these bird heads and toes and everything will be colored. This is a stippled one, remember? I'm going to go ahead and outline the wings just to give it a little definition, and this is where the dots start. Basically just dots. So perhaps the bird's chest will all be purple dots, and a few on the wings and on the feathers. And then perhaps we can add a magenta as well, perhaps on the wings, but you can see that it's just dots. And when you look at comic books and pictures from the newspaper up really close, you might see, my friends, that it is made up of dots. Certain printing processes do make their images all with dots. So this is stippling. Painters call it pointillism as well. It's a very popular drawing technique as well. The next one, let's make him look like one of the birds I saw out here in my yard. It's a bluebird. We have eastern bluebirds in my yard. Boy, was I happy when I saw them. The front of the eastern bluebird has got a very beautiful, lots of reds in the feathers. And this one is continuous tone, don't forget. So it's just kind of coloring like you would usually color. Now the bluebird has got a brilliant blue color. Old crayons with no paper are the best. You can turn them sideways. You can fill in spaces rather quickly. I think in some of my other classes we've shared that. The wings of the bluebird as well as the tail are beautiful blue. And this, remember, is continuous tone. The last one, I suppose we could do a robin colored bird. I have lots of robins, and we can do hatching with just the lines, and you can move them in different directions that go with the bird body. Robins have an orange, beautiful front to them, and their wings and their tails are a little bit brownish. So hatch lines are just up and down. You don't even have to fill it in solid. And notice how they're rounded. So the beaks will be orange, the toes will be orange, the feet will be orange. The branches, let's do this branch in a beautiful brown, and you may also add textures. Branches are really textured with the bark, so you may do lines. You notice that this branch is horizontal on the paper, while the birds are vertical, sitting on the branch. Color. Here's a finished product. As you can see, we do have hatched lines on this first bird on the left. This second bird is cross-hatched. This is your stippled with the pointillism technique. This is a continuous tone, which is what you are used to drawing. And that is our bluebird. And I also have robins in my yard as I'm out planting my flowers, and I just love to spend hours out of doors. You can see that the colors of this bird are like the robin, sitting on the horizontal tree branch. I did lay the blue crayon down sideways to fill in, and in the blink of an eye, the background can be filled in. As you move the crayon about, you can turn it sideways skinny so it gets up into these smaller shapes. Do not forget, all artists do sign their name on their artwork. A lot of artists do it on the bottom right-hand side. Some of your famous painters sign their work up here as well. So that choice is up to you. I hope you enjoyed our hatching, cross-hatching, stippled, continuous tone birds, and different characters of the birds on our art project today. Thank you.